Ma'am, people like you need to use the economy entrance. Brad Miller's hand slams against Victoria Thompson's shoulder. The force spins her completely around, designer heels scraping marble as she stumbles backward. Her first-class boarding pass scatters to the floor. Gate B47 at Chicago O'Hare erupts in gasps. Phones snap up instantly. A teenager's live stream explodes, 2,000 viewers in seconds. Victoria straightens her blazer with deliberate calm. She doesn't bend for the pass, doesn't speak. Her eyes lock onto Brad's smirking face with laser focus. The gate agent crosses his arms, blocking the first-class entrance entirely. Security's coming if you don't move along. 50 passengers lean forward. The air crackles with anticipation. Have you ever been judged so completely wrong that one quiet gesture could change everything forever? Brad Miller towers over the scattered boarding pass, his Skyline Airways badge catching terminal fluorescence. His voice carries across Gate B47 with theatrical authority. "Let me see that ticket again." This can't be right. Victoria retrieves her boarding pass without breaking eye contact. The document clearly displays Thompson, Victoria, First Class 2A Diamond Elite member. Brad examines it like a counterfeit bill, holding it to the light. He rotates it sideways. System shows this seat belongs to a corporate executive. The live streaming teenager adjusts her angle. Her viewer count climbs past 5,000. Comments flood the screen. "This is discrimination. Sue them. Record everything." Brad's supervisor, Karen Wilson, approaches with clipboard efficiency. Her pencil skirt and severe bun suggest middle management authority. She doesn't acknowledge Victoria directly. "Brad, what's the holdup?" "This woman claims she's first class, but..." Brad gestures vaguely at Victoria's appearance. "You know how it is with these upgraded tickets. Probably got it through some promotional thing." Karen's eyes sweep Victoria from head to toe. The assessment takes 3 seconds. Her conclusion forms instantly. "Ma'am, can you show us your credit card and photo ID? We need to verify the purchase was legitimate. Behind them, actual first-class passengers board without question." A man in wrinkled khakis and flip-flops waves his pass once. Karen smiles and welcomes him aboard. Victoria's phone buzzes. The caller ID flashes briefly. Meridian Industries, board meeting reminder. She declines the call without looking away from Karen. "My credentials are in order," Victoria says quietly. "As stated on the boarding pass." Brad snorts. "Look, lady, I've been doing this 15 years. I can spot a fake VIP from across the terminal." He leans closer, voice dropping to a stage whisper. "Between you and me, people try this scam daily. Dress nice, print fake passes, cause scenes when caught." The surrounding passengers shift uncomfortably. Some pull out phones. Others pretend to study departure boards while straining to hear every word. Victoria's briefcase sits beside her feet. The leather bears a small logo, Meridian Industries Global Solutions. Nobody notices. "Sir, this is clearly discrimination," calls out a woman in business attire. "She has a valid ticket." Brad whirls around. "Ma'am, please don't interfere with airline security procedures. We're protecting all passengers from fraud." The live-streaming teenager pans her camera across the growing crowd. Her commentary streams live. "Y'all, this is insane. They're treating this woman like a criminal for trying to board her own seat." Karen checks her watch impatiently. "Ma'am, we're holding up departure for 200 passengers. Either provide additional verification or accept rebooking to economy. We have availability in row 31. Victoria's fingers rest lightly on her briefcase handle. Inside, merger documents bear tomorrow's date. The acquisition proposal that could reshape both companies waits inches away. "I understand your position," Victoria replies. Her voice carries no anger, only measured certainty. "However, I paid for first-class service. I expect to receive it." Brad's face reddens. "Nobody's trying to cheat you out of anything." We're trying to prevent you from cheating us. He straightens to full height, using his 6-foot frame for intimidation. Now, you can cooperate or we can involve security. Your choice. The gate area fills with tension. Passengers choose sides through body language. Some nod approval at Brad's firm handling. Others film openly, building evidence. Victoria notices everything. The security cameras positioned overhead, the airport police station 30 yards away, the growing social media audience documenting each moment. Karen taps her pen against her clipboard. Final offer. Economy seat, row 31, middle section. Or we cancel your ticket entirely and you can rebook on another airline. At full price, Brad adds with satisfaction. The teenager's live stream reaches 8,000 viewers. Comments explode. Call the news! This is 2025, not 1955. Get their names! Victoria checks her watch. 6:47 p.m. Her phone shows 17 missed calls from Meridian Industries executives. The Skyline Airways board meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning appears in her calendar. She opens her briefcase slightly, revealing documents marked Confidential Acquisition Proposal. The folder's edge shows partial text. Skyline Airways Due Diligence Report. Karen glances down, but doesn't register the significance. Ma'am, we need your decision now. Departure is in 12 minutes. Victoria closes the briefcase with a soft click. She studies the faces surrounding her. Brad's smug certainty. Karen's bureaucratic impatience. The crowd's mixture of outrage and curiosity. Her phone buzzes again. This time she answers. Victoria Thompson speaking. The voice on the other end is barely audible, but Victoria's response carries clearly across the gate area. Yes, I'm at the airport. There's been a slight delay. She ends the call and looks directly at Brad. I believe we can resolve this situation very quickly. Security Chief James Davis strides through Gate B47 with practiced authority. His radio crackles with dispatcher chatter. Behind him, 2 uniformed officers follow in formation, hands resting casually on equipment belts. The live stream explodes. Viewer count rockets past 12,000. Comments blur across screens. They called security? This is insane. Going viral in 3, 2, 1. Quote. Davis surveys the scene with professional assessment. A well-dressed black woman stands calmly beside scattered luggage. 2 airline employees gesture animatedly. 50 passengers form a semicircle with phones raised. What's the situation here? Davis asks Karen. Passenger refuses to accept proper seating assignment, Karen explains. Claims she belongs in first class, but we suspect ticket fraud. She's becoming disruptive. Brad nods eagerly. Exactly. I tried explaining our policies nicely, but she won't listen to reason. Victoria hasn't moved. Her hands remain at her sides, briefcase upright beside her designer heels. No raised voice, no aggressive posture. The picture of composed compliance. Davis frowns. This doesn't match typical disruptive passenger profiles. The teenager with purple hair steps closer, phone extended. Officer, they're discriminating against her. She has a valid first-class ticket. Her live stream audience reaches 15,000 viewers across multiple platforms. Young lady, please step back, Davis instructs. This is airline business. But phones continue recording from every angle. The gate area transforms into an impromptu studio. Passengers narrate for their followers. Live from O'Hare, witnessing discrimination in real time. A businessman in row 3 boards without question, flip-flops slapping against metal jet bridge. Karen waves him through with a smile. The contrast isn't lost on observers. See that? Someone calls out. She's dressed better than half the first-class passengers. Brad's confidence wavers slightly. The crowd's mood shifts against airline staff. Social media amplification turns local incident into public spectacle. Davis approaches Victoria directly. Ma'am, can you explain your side? Victoria extends her boarding pass. I purchased first-class seating. My reservation is confirmed. These employees refuse to honor valid documentation. Davis examines the pass. Everything appears legitimate. Diamond Elite status. Seat 2A. Today's date. His confusion deepens. Looks valid to me, he tells Karen quietly. Karen's voice rises defensively. We have protocols for suspicious bookings. Corporate fraud is rampant. We're protecting company interests. The crowd murmurs disapproval. A woman shouts, "What's suspicious about a boarding pass?" Brad scrambles for justification. Look, I've been doing this job 15 years. I know when something's off. The way she carries herself, her presentation. Real executives don't look like... He gestures vaguely, realizing his words are being recorded. The live stream comment section erupts. Did he just say what I think he said? Screenshot that. Send this to news stations. Davis shifts uncomfortably. His radio crackles with airport control updates. Other gates operate normally while B-47 draws increasing attention. Victoria checks her phone. 23 missed calls now. The screen shows multiple executives trying to reach her. A text from her assistant. Board emergency session moved to 7 p.m. Where are you? She looks up to find Davis studying her carefully. Ma'am, what do you do for work? Victoria pauses. Around her, the gate area holds its collective breath. Phone cameras zoom closer. The live stream audience peaks at 18,000 viewers. I work in corporate leadership, she replies simply. Brad laughs. Corporate leadership? Right. Let me guess you're probably some middle manager trying to impress clients by flying first class on the company dime. The crowd's hostility toward airline staff intensifies. Someone shouts, "Just let her board." Others join. This is ridiculous. Discrimination lawsuit waiting to happen. Karen checks her watch frantically. We're now 8 minutes past scheduled departure. Other passengers are missing connections because of this delay. She grabs the gate microphone. Her voice echoes through the terminal. Ladies and gentlemen, we apologize for the boarding delay. We're resolving a ticketing verification issue and will resume boarding momentarily. The announcement draws additional spectators. Passengers from neighboring gates drift over. Airport staff pause their duties to observe. The incident's scope expands beyond Gate B-47. Davis feels the pressure mounting. His supervisor will demand explanations. Media attention threatens airport reputation. The woman appears completely non-threatening, yet airline staff insist on pursuing confrontation. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to come with me for additional screening, Davis announces reluctantly. Victoria nods calmly. Of course, officer. As she reaches for her briefcase, a document slides partially visible. Davis glimpses letterhead, Meridian Industries, and partial text mentioning Skyline Airways acquisition. He pauses, recognition flickering. Meridian Industries. That name sounds familiar. Major corporate client, perhaps? But before he can process fully, Karen interrupts. Officer Davis, we need to clear this gate immediately. Can we escort her to security processing? The livestream teen pans across the crowd. Her commentary streams to thousands. They're about to arrest her for trying to board her own seat. This is America in 2025. Victoria straightens her blazer and looks directly into the nearest camera. Sometimes, she says quietly, the most important lessons come from the most unexpected teachers. She reaches into her briefcase with deliberate precision. The gate area falls silent. Victoria's fingers close around her phone with surgical precision. The device emerges from her briefcase like a weapon drawn from its holster. Every eye in Gate B-47 tracks the movement. She scrolls through contacts with unhurried calm. Brad shifts his weight, confused by her lack of panic. Karen taps her pen impatiently. Security Chief Davis watches. instincts prickling with unease. "Janet," Victoria speaks into the phone, her voice carrying across the silent gate area. "Initiate Protocol 7 for Skyline Airways. Full corporate account suspension. Effective immediately." The words hang in recycled airport air. Brad laughs nervously. "Protocol what now? Lady, you can't just make up." Every computer terminal at Gate B47 flashes red simultaneously. The screens freeze. Loading wheels spin frantically. Then, in bold capital letters across every monitor, "Meridian Industries, Tier 1 corporate account suspended. Contact legal department immediately." Karen's pen clatters to the floor. The boarding system locks completely. No new passengers can check in. No seat assignments process. No upgrades authorize. The gate's entire operation grinds to a halt. Brad stares at his screen, mouth opening and closing soundlessly. His 15 years of experience provide no context for this moment. What did you just do?" Karen whispers. Victoria ends her call and looks directly at the nearest camera. The live stream audience has exploded to 25,000 viewers. Comments flood the screen so rapidly they blur together. "I suspended my company's travel account with Skyline Airways," she explains with clinical precision. "Annual contract value, $89 million. The numbers hit like physical blows. Davis stumbles backward. Karen grabs the check-in counter for support. Victoria continues, her tone remaining conversational. "Meridian Industries books approximately 12,000 employee flights annually through Skyline Airways. Current quarter reservations total $23 million. She opens her briefcase fully. Documents marked "Confidential" and "Merger Proposal" fan across the counter. Letterheads bear both company logos. Tomorrow's date appears on acquisition paperwork. "I was conducting a final service evaluation," Victoria explains to the cameras, knowing her words will reach millions. "As part of our due diligence process for acquiring Skyline Airways." Brad's face drains of all color. His hands shake as understanding crashes over him like a tsunami. The teenager filming adjusts her angle to capture the airline employee's expressions. "Oh my God," she narrates to her audience. "Plot twist of the century. She's not just a passenger, she was going to buy the airline." Karen's voice cracks. Ms. Thompson, I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding." Victoria's phone buzzes continuously. The caller ID shows Skyline Airways Corporate, urgent. She declines the call without looking. Security Chief Davis studies the documents spread across the counter. His law enforcement training recognizes authentic corporate paperwork. The merger proposal alone runs 47 pages. The due diligence report contains detailed financial analysis. This isn't performance art. This isn't fraud. This is corporate power on a scale he's never encountered. "Ma'am," Davis says carefully, "I believe we may have acted hastily." More phones ring throughout the gate area. Airport management receives emergency calls. Regional supervisors demand explanations. The incident escalates through corporate hierarchies at light speed. Victoria's briefcase contains additional documents: partnership agreements, employment contracts, stock option plans. An entire merger structured to benefit both companies was structured. The acquisition proposal, Victoria continues for her growing audience, valued Skyline Airways at $11.5 billion. Our board approved the purchase this morning. Past tense. The live stream comments explode with realizations. She was going to make them rich. They discriminated against their own buyer. This is insane. Brad tries to speak, but no words emerge. His career, his pension, his entire future collapses in real time. Karen's pen lies forgotten on the industrial carpet. An airport manager appears, practically sprinting through the terminal. His radio crackles with urgent communications. Behind him, two Skyline Airways executives in expensive suits rush toward the gate. Victoria watches their approach with mild interest. She checks her watch. 7:02 p.m. The Meridian Industries board meeting has officially begun without her. "Miss Thompson!" The lead executive gasps, slightly winded from running. "I'm Richard Sterling, Regional Vice President. There's been a terrible mistake. The live stream audience peaks at 32,000 viewers across multiple platforms. Mainstream news outlets begin monitoring the feeds. Twitter hashtags trend globally. Hashtag Gategate. Hashtag airline discrimination. Hashtag Meridian VC Skyline." Victoria acknowledges Sterling with a professional nod. "Mr. Sterling, I'm afraid my service evaluation has concluded. The results were illuminating." Sterling's eyes dart between the suspended computer systems, the growing crowd, and the merger documents scattered across the counter. Millions of dollars in annual revenue, billions in acquisition potential, all disintegrating before his eyes. "Please," Sterling's voice cracks with desperation. "Can we discuss this privately?" "I'm certain we can resolve any concerns you might have." Victoria's phone shows 47 missed calls from Skyline Airways executives. Text messages flood her screen. "Emergency board meeting. Please reconsider. We can fix this." She looks at Brad, who stands frozen like a deer in headlights. At Karen, whose bureaucratic confidence has evaporated entirely. At Davis, who now realizes he nearly arrested one of Chicago's most powerful executives. "Gentlemen," Victoria addresses the cameras surrounding her, "this situation demonstrates why service excellence cannot be measured by quarterly reports alone. It requires treating every customer with dignity, regardless of assumptions about their background or appearance." The gate area erupts in spontaneous applause. Passengers who witness the entire confrontation cheer openly. The teenager streaming live does a victory dance for her audience. Victoria closes her briefcase with a definitive click. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a board meeting to attend." Sterling blocks her path desperately. "Ms. Thompson, please, let's discuss this rationally." Victoria pauses, her hand on the briefcase handle. "Mr. Sterling, discrimination is never rational, but consequences usually are." Victoria's phone erupts with incoming calls. Sterling's hands tremble as he watches Skyline Airways' stock ticker on his device. $34.12 per share, down 3% in 12 minutes as news spreads through trading networks. "Ms. Thompson," Sterling pleads, sweat beading on his forehead. "Our current market capitalization is $8.2 billion. Your acquisition offer represents a 39% premium. Shareholders have already been notified of preliminary agreements. The live stream captures every word. Comments explode. Billions of dollars. She's literally buying the airline. This is better than Netflix." Victoria opens her merger folder deliberately. Pages of financial analysis spread across the gate counter like a corporate autopsy. The due diligence report reveals Skyline Airways' complete vulnerability. "Your Q4 revenue projections assumed continued Meridian Industries partnership," Victoria states matter-of-factly. "Without our corporate account, you'll face a $67 million shortfall this quarter alone." Sterling's phone buzzes frantically. His screen shows missed calls from the CEO, board chairman, and lead investors. Each ring represents millions in market value evaporating. Karen Wilson attempts damage control. "Ms. Thompson, Brad acted independently. His behavior doesn't represent company policy." "Policy?" Victoria interrupts, her voice cutting through the crowd noise. "Let me read your official service excellence guidelines, published last month." She produces a printed document from her briefcase. The Skyline Airways logo gleams at the top. Section 4.3. All customers will be treated with dignity and respect, regardless of race, gender, or perceived economic status. Victoria's voice carries clearly to the cameras. Section 6.1. Employee discrimination based on customer appearance violates Federal Civil Rights Act provisions. Brad finally finds his voice. "Look, I was just doing my job. We get fraud attempts every day." "Fraud?" Victoria raises an eyebrow. "My Diamond Elite membership dates back 7 years. I've flown 2.3 million miles on Skyline Airways. Your own loyalty program database confirms this. She displays her phone screen showing her complete flight history. The records stretch back years, showing consistent first-class bookings and premium service usage. Sterling's desperation intensifies. Our legal department can address any compliance issues. We have robust training programs. Training programs that clearly failed, Victoria responds. Your employee physically pushed me and questioned my ticket validity based solely on racial profiling. The crowd murmurs agreement. Phones continue recording every moment. The teenager's live stream reaches 38,000 viewers, with major news outlets now monitoring the feed. Davis shifts uncomfortably, realizing his role in the discrimination. His radio crackles with headquarters demanding status updates. Airport management wants the situation resolved before media attention explodes further. Victoria checks her tablet, pulling up real-time market data. Skyline Airways stock has dropped to $32.86. Trading volume increased by 340% in the past 15 minutes. The numbers hit Sterling like physical blows. His phone shows panicked messages from institutional investors, pension funds demanding explanations, hedge funds circling like vultures. Our preliminary agreement included performance benchmarks, Victoria continues, referencing merger documents. Service excellence metrics specifically addressed discrimination prevention. Today's incident represents fundamental breach of our partnership conditions. She highlights specific clauses in the acquisition contract. Legal language outlining bias prevention requirements, employee training standards, and customer service protocols. Section 12.4 states clearly, any documented discrimination incident during the evaluation period constitutes grounds for contract termination. Sterling's voice cracks. One employee's mistake can't invalidate months of negotiations. Think of the jobs at stake: 47,000 employees across 6 continents. Victoria's expression doesn't soften. Think of the customers denied dignity every day because leadership tolerates discriminatory behavior. Her phone shows incoming calls from 3 major news networks. CNN, NBC, and Fox News have identified the story. Social media amplification guarantees national coverage within hours. Ms. Thompson, a new voice interrupts. Airport Director Margaret Hayes approaches with crisis management urgency. I represent O'Hare International. We deeply regret this incident occurred on our premises. Hayes carries a tablet showing social media metrics. The hashtags GateGate and airline discrimination trend in 17 countries. TikTok videos have garnered over 2 million views collectively. This situation extends beyond airline policy. Victoria addresses Hayes directly. Federal transportation regulations require equal service regardless of customer demographics. Title VII violations create liability for airport authorities who permit discrimination. Hayes nods grimly, recognizing legal exposure. Discrimination lawsuits could cost tens of millions in settlements and punitive damages. Sterling attempts another approach. Ms. Thompson, what would it take to restore the partnership? Name your terms. We'll implement any changes you require. Victoria consults her tablet, displaying detailed corporate restructuring proposals. The documents reveal months of planning for systematic improvements. Complete corporate culture overhaul. Mandatory unconscious bias training for all customer-facing employees. Real-time monitoring systems with AI sentiment analysis. Third-party audits quarterly. Zero-tolerance discrimination policy with immediate termination consequences. The list continues across multiple pages. Technology implementations, policy changes, accountability measures, and executive oversight requirements. Additionally, $2 million in donations to civil rights organizations. Public apology from your CEO broadcast during tomorrow's shareholder meeting. Partnership with diversity training specialists for ongoing education programs. Sterling calculates frantically. The costs pale compared to losing an $89 million annual account and a $11.5 billion acquisition opportunity. Done, he agrees immediately. All of it. Whatever you need. Victoria's expression remains neutral. And termination of employees who initiated this discrimination? Brad's face goes white. Karen clutches her clipboard like a lifeline. That would need board approval, Sterling stammers. You have 48 hours, Victoria states firmly. Discrimination has consequences. Excellence requires accountability. Her phone shows the Meridian Industries board meeting in progress. Executives wait for her recommendation on the Skyline Airways acquisition. This incident demonstrates why due diligence extends beyond financial metrics, Victoria tells the cameras. Corporate culture determines long-term viability. Today's evaluation revealed fundamental flaws requiring immediate correction. The livestream audience watches in fascination as billions of dollars in corporate decisions unfold in real time. Comments pour in, "She's rewriting corporate America." This is how change happens. Power used right. Sterling's phone rings with an incoming call from Skyline Airways' CEO. He glances at Victoria desperately before answering. "Sir, we have a situation at O'Hare." Victoria checks her watch, 7:18 p.m. Her board meeting continues without their CEO's crucial recommendation. The acquisition decision hangs in the balance. She looks directly into the nearest camera. Excellence isn't negotiable. Dignity isn't optional. And discrimination always has consequences. The gate area erupts in applause again. Sterling ends his call, sweat dripping onto his expensive tie. "Ms. Thompson, the CEO wants to speak with you personally. He's flying here tonight from headquarters." Victoria closes her merger documents and stands. "Mr. Sterling, some conversations require more than words. They require demonstrable change." She picks up her briefcase, preparing to leave. "You have 48 hours to prove Skyline Airways can earn back the trust it lost today." Victoria's phone erupts with incoming calls. The screen displays a cascade of notifications. CEOURGENT, Board Chairman, Legal Emergency, Media Relations Crisis. Sterling's hands tremble as he watches Skyline Airways' stock ticker plummet in real time. "Ms. Thompson," Sterling pleads, sweat beading on his forehead despite the terminal's air conditioning. "Our current market capitalization stands at $8.2 billion. Your acquisition offer represents a 39% premium over current trading value. Our shareholders received preliminary notifications this morning expecting board approval by Friday." The live stream captures every desperate word. Comments explode across multiple platforms. Billions at stake. She controls their entire future. Corporate chess master. The viewer count climbs past 45,000 across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter feeds. Victoria opens her merger folder with deliberate precision. Financial documents spread across the gate counter like pieces of a corporate puzzle. Each page represents months of analysis, due diligence, and strategic planning. "Your Q4 revenue projections," Victoria begins, her voice carrying the authority of someone who understands numbers intimately, "assumed continued partnership with Meridian Industries. Our corporate travel account represents 14% of your total passenger revenue." She points to specific figures highlighted in yellow. "Without our business, you'll face a $67 million shortfall this quarter. Annual impact, $268 million in lost revenue." Sterling's phone buzzes frantically. His screen shows 17 missed calls from the CEO, 6 from the board chairman, and 23 from institutional investors. Each notification represents millions in market value evaporating by the minute. Karen Wilson steps forward, attempting damage control with corporate speak desperation. "Ms. Thompson, please understand. Brad's actions were completely unauthorized. His behavior absolutely doesn't represent official company policy or values." "Policy?" Victoria interrupts, her tone sharpening like a blade. "Let me read directly from your own Service Excellence Guidelines, published just last month and distributed to all employees." She produces a bound document from her briefcase, the Skyline Airways logo prominent on official letterhead. Several passengers lean closer, recognizing the dramatic irony unfolding. Section 4.3 states explicitly, all customers will be treated with dignity and respect regardless of race, gender, age, or perceived economic status. Victoria's voice projects clearly to every recording device. Section 6.1 continues, employee discrimination based on customer appearance constitutes violation of Federal Civil Rights Act provisions and grounds for immediate termination. The crowd murmurs recognition. The airline's own policies condemn the very behavior they just witnessed. Brad shifts uncomfortably, realizing his actions violated explicit company guidelines. Furthermore, Victoria continues, flipping pages, Section 8.2 requires employees to assume positive intent with all valid documentation. My boarding pass, loyalty status, and identification were never questioned for legitimacy, only for whether I deserved first-class service. Brad finally finds his voice, desperation overriding judgment. Look, I was protecting company interests. We get fraud attempts constantly. People try scamming upgrades every single day using fake documents or stolen identities. Fraud? Victoria raises an eyebrow, her expression mixing disbelief with cold calculation. My Diamond Elite membership spans 7 years of continuous travel. I've accumulated 2.3 million miles exclusively on Skyline Airways routes. Your loyalty database contains detailed records of every flight, upgrade, and service interaction. She displays her phone screen showing comprehensive flight history. The records stretch back years: Chicago to London, New York to Tokyo, Los Angeles to Frankfurt. Hundreds of first-class bookings, premium service usage, and loyalty program benefits earned through legitimate business travel. Sterling's desperation intensifies as market alerts flood his device. Our legal department stands ready to address any compliance concerns immediately. We maintain robust anti-discrimination training programs, diversity initiatives, and customer service protocols. Training programs that demonstrably failed. Victoria responds with surgical precision. Your employee physically pushed me backward, questioned my ticket validity based solely on racial profiling, and threatened security intervention for attempting to board my assigned seat. Davis winces, remembering his role in escalating the confrontation. His radio crackles with headquarters demanding immediate status updates. Airport management recognizes the brewing public relations catastrophe. Victoria accesses her tablet, displaying real-time financial data. Skyline Airways stock has declined to $32.74. Trading volume increased by 420% in 23 minutes as institutional investors react to developing news. The numbers strike Sterling like physical blows. His phone screen shows panicked messages from pension funds, mutual companies, and hedge fund managers. Major stakeholders demand explanations for sudden market volatility. Our preliminary merger agreement included specific performance benchmarks, Victoria continues, referencing thick legal documents. Service excellence metrics explicitly addressed discrimination prevention as fundamental to corporate culture evaluation. She highlights yellow-marked clauses throughout the acquisition contract, legal language requiring bias prevention protocols, diversity training standards, and customer service accountability measures. Section 12.4 states unambiguously, any documented discrimination incident during the evaluation period constitutes material breach of partnership conditions and grounds for contract termination. Sterling's voice cracks under pressure. Ms. Thompson, one employee's regrettable mistake cannot invalidate months of good faith negotiations. Consider the broader implications. 47,000 jobs across 6 continents depend on this merger's success. Victoria's expression remains unmoved by emotional appeals. Consider the customers denied basic dignity every day because leadership tolerates discriminatory behavior as acceptable cost of operations. Her phone displays incoming calls from major news networks. CNN, NBC, Fox News, and MSNBC have assigned reporters to the developing story. Social media amplification guarantees national coverage within hours. Airport Director Margaret Hayes approaches with crisis management urgency, flanked by 2 legal advisors and a public relations specialist. Ms. Thompson, I represent O'Hare International Airport Authority. We deeply regret this discriminatory incident occurred on our premises. Hayes carries a tablet showing explosive social media metrics. The hashtags GateGate, airline discrimination, and Meridian v. Skyline trend in 23 countries. TikTok videos have accumulated over 5 million collective views in 30 minutes. This situation extends beyond airline policy violations. Victoria addresses Hayes with professional directness. Federal transportation regulations require equal service delivery regardless of customer demographics. Title VII violations create direct liability for airport authorities who permit systematic discrimination. Hayes nods grimly, calculating potential legal exposure. Discrimination lawsuits routinely cost tens of millions in settlements, punitive damages, and regulatory penalties. Sterling attempts yet another desperate approach. Ms. Thompson, please tell me what it would take to restore our partnership. Name any terms you consider reasonable. We'll implement whatever changes you require immediately. Victoria consults her tablet, displaying comprehensive corporate restructuring proposals developed over months of strategic planning. Complete organizational culture transformation. Mandatory unconscious bias training for all 47,000 customer-facing employees globally. Real-time discrimination monitoring systems with AI sentiment analysis of customer interactions. Independent third-party audits conducted quarterly with public reporting. The list continues across multiple detailed pages. Technology implementations, policy restructuring, accountability frameworks, and executive oversight requirements designed to eliminate discriminatory practices systematically. Additionally, $2 million in charitable donations to established civil rights organizations. Public apology from your CEO broadcast during tomorrow's scheduled shareholder meeting. Ongoing partnership with recognized diversity training specialists for continuous education programs. Sterling calculates frantically using his phone's calculator app. The implementation costs seem manageable compared to losing an $89 million annual account and an $11.5 billion acquisition opportunity. Agreed, he responds immediately, relief flooding his voice. Every single requirement, whatever timeline you need. Victoria's expression remains professionally neutral. And immediate termination of employees who initiated this discrimination incident? Brad's face drains completely white. Karen clutches her clipboard desperately, knuckles showing through pale skin. That decision requires formal board approval, Sterling stammers, recognizing the legal implications. You have exactly 48 hours, Victoria states with finality. Discrimination must have consequences. Excellence demands accountability at every organizational level. The live stream audience watches corporate history unfold in real time. Comments stream continuously. She's single-handedly changing corporate America. This is leadership. Power used for justice. Sterling's phone rings with an incoming call labeled CEO Emergency. He glances at Victoria desperately before answering with trembling fingers. Sir, we have a critical situation developing at O'Hare Gate B47. Victoria closes her merger documents and stands with quiet authority. Excellence isn't negotiable, dignity isn't optional, and discrimination always carries consequences. Within 18 hours, the corporate earthquake reaches every level of Skyline Airways hierarchy. Victoria's phone buzzes at 6:30 a.m. with a text from Sterling. Emergency board meeting concluded. Immediate actions approved per your requirements. The live stream from Gate B47 has exploded into a global phenomenon. The original video reaches 12 million views across platforms. News outlets from BBC to Al Jazeera pick up the story. #GateGate trends in 47 countries. Victoria sits in her downtown Chicago office, reviewing morning news coverage on multiple screens. Her assistant, Janet Morrison, updates her on developments every 30 minutes. CNN just aired a segment calling it "The Boarding Pass Heard Round the World," Janet reports. Fox Business is analyzing the merger implications. The Wall Street Journal wants an exclusive interview. Victoria's tablet shows Skyline Airways stock price, $29.43, down nearly 15% in 24 hours. Trading volume remains explosive as investors react to the discrimination scandal and potential merger collapse. Her phone rings. Sterling's name appears on the caller ID. "Ms. Thompson, I have updates on all your requirements," Sterling begins without preamble. His voice carries exhaustion from sleepless crisis management. Brad Miller was terminated at 5:47 a.m. 15 years of employment ended with cause, no severance package, no benefits continuation. Victoria makes notes on her legal pad. And Karen Wilson? Suspended pending full investigation. If discrimination charges are substantiated, termination will follow within 72 hours. We're also reviewing Security Chief Davis for policy violations in his response protocol. The consequences ripple outward like stones in water. Brad Miller's LinkedIn profile shows seeking new opportunities. Local news stations report he's hired a discrimination attorney, claiming he was scapegoated for following unofficial company practices. The $2 million donation has been approved, Sterling continues. Split equally between the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, Southern Poverty Law Center, National Urban League, and United Negro College Fund. Public announcement scheduled for this afternoon. Victoria's computer screen displays the press release draft. Professional language acknowledging systemic failures in customer service excellence and commitment to meaningful reform initiatives. CEO Martinez will deliver the public apology during this morning's shareholder meeting, Sterling adds. Legal cleared the language. We accept full responsibility without admitting legal liability. At 9 a.m., Skyline Airways' annual shareholder meeting convenes in downtown Detroit. CEO Roberto Martinez approaches the podium with visible reluctance. The auditorium buzzes with investor anxiety and media attention. Yesterday's incident at O'Hare Airport exposed unacceptable failures in our customer service standards, Martinez begins, reading carefully from prepared remarks. We deeply regret the discrimination experienced by Ms. Victoria Thompson and any customer who has faced similar treatment. The apology streams live across corporate websites and news platforms. Martinez's words are measured, legal, but carry genuine acknowledgement of institutional failure. Effective immediately, Skyline Airways implements comprehensive reforms to prevent future discrimination incidents. These changes represent our commitment to excellence, dignity, and equal treatment for every customer. Victoria watches the broadcast from her office. Martinez's apology seems authentic, not merely corporate damage control. His voice carries personal shame alongside institutional responsibility. Her phone buzzes with a text from the teenager who live-streamed the original incident. OMG, Ms. Thompson. They actually fired him. Change is real. Thank you for showing us how it's done. The systemic changes begin rolling out within days. Skyline Airways' new Dignity in Travel initiative launches with unprecedented scope and investment. Every customer-facing employee, 47,000 people across 6 continents, must complete mandatory unconscious bias training within 60 days. The curriculum, developed with Harvard Business School's diversity experts, includes role-playing exercises, implicit bias assessments, and cultural sensitivity workshops. Technology implementations follow rapidly. Body cameras become required equipment for all gate agents, security personnel, and customer service representatives. The devices record every customer interaction, creating accountability through transparency. AI sentiment analysis monitors customer service calls, chat sessions, and in-person interactions for discriminatory language or behavior patterns. The system flags potential bias incidents for immediate supervisor review. A new mobile app, Skyline Dignity, allows passengers to report discrimination in real time. Reports trigger automatic investigations within 24 hours, with outcomes published monthly in transparency reports. Third-party audits begin immediately. The consulting firm McKinsey & Company conducts quarterly assessments of customer service practices, bias incident rates, and cultural transformation progress. Results are published publicly on Skyline Airways' website. The most significant change involves executive accountability. Senior leadership compensation now includes diversity and inclusion metrics. Discrimination incidents in any department directly impact executive bonuses and stock options. A new position emerges: Chief Dignity Officer, reporting directly to the CEO. The role carries authority to terminate employees for bias violations and implements system-wide cultural reforms. Within 2 weeks, Victoria receives a detailed implementation report. The statistics are encouraging. Bias incident reports increase 340% as awareness grows, but resolution times drop from weeks to hours. Customer satisfaction scores improve across all demographic groups. The corporate culture shift extends beyond policy changes. Employee resource groups gain executive sponsorship and budget authority. Diversity hiring initiatives expand recruitment at historically Black colleges and Hispanic-serving institutions. Supplier diversity programs prioritize minority-owned businesses. Victoria's merger evaluation continues under new parameters. The discrimination incident becomes a case study in corporate crisis management and cultural transformation. Her due diligence report notes Skyline Airways' unprecedented commitment to systematic bias elimination. The airline industry watches closely as competitors implement similar initiatives. American Airlines launches Respect in Flight training. Delta introduces body camera pilots. United Airlines partners with civil rights organizations for bias prevention consulting. Victoria's approach becomes a Harvard Business School case study. Corporate leverage and social justice, the Meridian Skyline Airways incident. An MBA students analyze how individual dignity connects to systemic change and corporate accountability. The live-streaming teenager, whose purple hair and phone camera captured the original discrimination, receives invitations to speak at diversity conferences. Her TikTok following grows to 2.3 million subscribers interested in social justice activism. Brad Miller files an employment lawsuit claiming wrongful termination. His attorney argues he followed standard industry practices for suspicious ticketing situations. The case becomes a test of whether discrimination can hide behind informal policies. Karen Wilson undergoes investigation by the Illinois Department of Human Rights. Customer service records reveal patterns of disproportionate verification requests for Black and Hispanic passengers over 3 years of employment. Security Chief Davis faces internal review but keeps his position after completing enhanced de-escalation training. His body camera footage from the incident becomes required viewing in law enforcement bias prevention courses. Victoria's phone rings with calls from corporate executives nationwide. CEOs want consultation on discrimination prevention. HR directors seek guidance on cultural transformation. Business schools request guest lectures on ethical leadership. The merger negotiations resume under new terms. Skyline Airways' commitment to systematic reform satisfies Meridian Industries' cultural compatibility requirements. The acquisition price adjusts downward to $10.2 billion, reflecting temporary stock price depression and implementation costs. Victoria's assistant, Janet, provides daily updates on social media metrics. The story maintains international attention weeks after the initial incident. Documentary filmmakers express interest in deeper exploration of corporate discrimination and reform. A month later, Victoria receives a handwritten letter forwarded through corporate channels. Ms. Thompson, I'm a Black woman who flies frequently for business. Yesterday I was treated with exceptional courtesy by Skyline Airways staff at LAX. The gate agent went out of her way to ensure my comfort and address my concerns. I know this change happened because of your courage at O'Hare. Thank you for making travel more dignified for all of us. Sarah Washington, attorney, Los Angeles. Similar letters arrive weekly. Customers report improved treatment, increased staff sensitivity, and genuine cultural change throughout Skyline Airways operations. The reforms create measurable impact beyond statistical improvements. Victoria's office wall displays a framed photograph from Gate B47, herself standing calmly beside her briefcase while chaos erupts around her. The image reminds her that individual courage can catalyze institutional transformation. The merger finalizes 6 months later. Meridian Industries acquires Skyline Airways for $10.8 billion, creating the world's fourth largest airline conglomerate. Victoria becomes chairman of the combined entity, overseeing continued cultural evolution. Her first executive decision: expanding the Dignity in Travel initiative across all Meridian transportation subsidiaries. Bus lines, rental car agencies, and shipping companies adopt similar bias prevention protocols. The corporate world takes notice. Discrimination prevention evolves from legal compliance to competitive advantage. Companies recognize that dignity drives customer loyalty, employee retention, and brand reputation. Victoria's quiet gesture at Gate B47 creates ripples extending far beyond airline travel. The incident demonstrates how individual moral courage, combined with strategic leverage, can transform entire industries. Change begins with one person refusing to accept injustice as normal. 2 years after Gate B47, Victoria Thompson stands before the National Business Ethics Conference in Washington, D.C. The auditorium holds 3,000 executives from Fortune 500 companies. Behind her, a massive screen displays the now famous photograph, herself standing calmly with her briefcase while discrimination erupted around her. Leadership isn't about position or title, Victoria begins, her voice carrying the same quiet authority that silenced an airport gate. It's about choosing dignity over comfort, principle over profit, and courage over compliance. The audience listens with rapt attention. Many have implemented their own versions of the Dignity in Travel initiative across industries. Victoria's approach has become a blueprint for transforming corporate culture through strategic leverage and moral clarity. Her presentation includes updated statistics that tell the story of lasting change. Skyline Airways discrimination complaints dropped by 89% in 18 months. Customer satisfaction scores increased across all demographic groups. Employee retention improved by 23% as workplace culture evolved. The most profound transformations happen when we refuse to accept injustice as inevitable, Victoria continues. Every person has power. The question is whether we choose to use it. In the audience, former Skyline Airways employees nod recognition. The company's cultural transformation extended beyond policy changes to genuine shifts in daily behavior and organizational values. Victoria's phone buzzes with a text from the purple-haired teenager who live-streamed the original incident. Now a sophomore at Northwestern University studying social justice communications, she writes, "Watching your speech live. Still getting chills remembering that day. You changed everything for so many people. Thank you for showing us what real power looks like." The young woman, Zoe Martinez, has become a prominent voice in corporate accountability activism. Her TikTok account reaches 4.7 million followers interested in exposing discrimination and celebrating justice victories. She credits Gate B47 as her awakening to how individual courage can spark systemic change. Victoria's presentation shifts to broader implications. The Meridian Skyline merger created a transportation conglomerate worth $47 billion, employing 127,000 people across 38 countries. Every subsidiary operates under dignity-first principles established that day at O'Hare. We measure success not just in quarterly earnings, but in human dignity metrics, Victoria explains. Bias incident rates, customer satisfaction across demographics, employee engagement scores, and community impact assessments. Profit and principle can coexist when leadership chooses both. The business case for dignity proves compelling. Companies implementing similar initiatives report increased customer loyalty, reduced legal liability, enhanced brand reputation, and improved employee productivity. Treating people with respect generates measurable returns on investment. Victoria's personal story resonates beyond corporate boardrooms. She receives speaking invitations from universities, civil rights organizations, and leadership conferences worldwide. Her message remains consistent. Moral courage combined with strategic thinking creates lasting change. The original Gate B47 video has accumulated over 47 million views across platforms. Comments continue arriving daily from people sharing their own discrimination experiences and drawing inspiration from Victoria's composed response under pressure. One comment, pinned by the original poster, reads, "This video literally changed my life. I was being discriminated against at my workplace and remembered how Ms. Thompson stayed calm but firm. I documented everything, reported it properly, and got real changes made. Sometimes one person really can make a difference." Victoria's influence extends into academic research. Business schools study her approach as a masterclass in crisis leadership and ethical decision-making. The Harvard Business Review published her guest article, "The Quiet Power of Principled Leadership in Crisis Moments." The article's key insight resonates across industries. True power isn't measured by volume or aggression, but by the ability to create positive change while maintaining personal dignity. Emotional intelligence combined with strategic thinking achieves more than anger ever could. Brad Miller, the gate agent whose discrimination sparked the incident, never found comparable employment. His termination for cause appears on background checks, limiting job opportunities. He disappeared from social media entirely after his wrongful termination lawsuit was dismissed with prejudice. Karen Wilson, the supervisor, completed court-mandated bias training and found work with a smaller regional airline at significantly reduced salary. She occasionally posts LinkedIn articles about learning from mistakes and personal growth through adversity. Security Chief Davis retained his position after implementing enhanced de-escalation protocols airport-wide. He frequently references the incident when training new officers. Always assume positive intent and treat every person with dignity. You never know who you're serving or what impact your behavior might have. Victoria's legacy extends beyond corporate reform. The Meridian Foundation, established with merger proceeds, provides scholarships for minority students pursuing business leadership degrees. Recipients study ethical decision-making, cultural competency, and principled leadership. Annual scholarship recipients visit Gate B47 as part of their orientation. A small plaque now marks the spot where Victoria stood that evening. Dignity demonstrated here, October 15, 2025. Sometimes quiet courage changes the world. The airport installation reminds travelers that individual actions have consequences beyond immediate circumstances. Thousands of passengers photograph the plaque daily, sharing stories of their own moments requiring moral courage. Victoria's office receives letters weekly from people applying her approach to their own challenges. Teachers confronting educational inequity. Healthcare workers addressing treatment disparities. Small business owners creating inclusive workplace cultures. Each story reinforces her core message. Everyone possesses power to create positive change. The question is whether we choose comfort or courage when moments of decision arrive. Victoria's final slide displays contact information for reporting discrimination across industries. The National Business Ethics Hotline, Civil Rights Legal Defense Funds, and corporate accountability organizations provide resources for people facing similar challenges. Your voice matters, Victoria tells the conference audience as her presentation concludes. Your dignity matters. Your courage to speak truth to power matters. Change begins with individuals who refuse to accept injustice as normal. The auditorium erupts in sustained applause. Executives exchange business cards, discussing implementation strategies for their own organizations. Victoria's approach spreads through professional networks like ripples in a pond. As she leaves the stage, Victoria's phone shows messages from viewers watching the live-streamed speech. Comments pour in from around the world. Business leaders, students, activists, and everyday people inspired by her example of principled leadership. One message stands out, from a flight attendant in Mumbai. Ms. Thompson, I watched your airport video during my bias training last year. Yesterday, I intervened when colleagues were treating a passenger unfairly based on his appearance. I stayed calm like you did and documented everything. Management backed me up and the passenger thanked me. You taught me that doing right doesn't require permission. Thank you. Victoria smiles, remembering her own quiet moment of decision 2 years ago. One choice, made with courage and strategy, continues creating positive change in ways she never anticipated. The car service takes her back to O'Hare Airport for her flight home. As they pass Gate B47, Victoria sees families boarding planes, business travelers checking phones, and airline staff treating every passenger with professional courtesy. Progress looks ordinary until you remember how extraordinary change can be. What's your story of standing up for what's right? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your courage might inspire someone facing their own moment of decision. Subscribe for more stories of quiet leadership creating lasting change. Together, we can make dignity the standard, not the exception.